not, it doesn't deteriorate your material, and so if you make a mistake, you can kind of just peel it off, which is great. The only thing is it looks bad. It's not as clean. It's hard to control when you're using just such a small output, and but you know, it's situational. So I think I use hot glue a lot for putting these guys on. Just take the hot glue, dip it in, drop it in, and then you'll have to go back and clean off the strands and stuff. But like I said, it's really fast, and it's not as, I mean, if you get this stuff on some of the material, it'll stain. So you have to be really delicate and really careful with what you're doing. Yeah, that's basically it, I think. Some other things you can use are double-sided tapes. If you're doing something really, I don't know, like that Troy tape that we have. 3M makes something that's really expensive. It's kind of like a film that you, I've only used it once, but it's a film double-sided tape, so it's kind of glue, kind of tape, stick things together. The only thing is it's not very permanent. But other double-sided tapes, if you're stacking, you can use double-sided, like 3M's permanent, the yellow stuff, just to stack things on top of each other. I guess I can talk about when you do stack, you should basically, when you do stack things, you want to get them really rigid. I would like tape them, or if you have holes in them and you have your structure involved, you can put that in, and then you stick it together, and you take this and you just slightly, wipe it very slowly across the edges, and then there'll be some capillary action where it starts to bond together, and then it just adheres together, and that can get really, really strong.
Stacking.
Huh?
For stacking.
Yeah, for stacking. But you want to be careful because you want it to be really tight, because I don't know how to really describe it, but if it's not tight enough, you basically want to get the glue only on the edges. If it gets on the interior, then it'll become really visible from the top, and you'll see it, and it'll look. And you can sort of see it over here. There's some stains here, which you want to try to not get, basically. So if you keep it to the edges, you keep it light, and just go all the way around to be very thorough, you should be able to get something pretty nice. I guess the most important thing, it's like my last rule, is you don't want to make an invisible model, because I've made invisible models, and like the jury doesn't even notice it. Like, that's one thing, and it's not representing anything if you can't see it, really. So the way you do that is you use contrast, use colors, opacities. You can buy this frosted plexi at G&G, and you might be able to get an arrow shield. But it's really nice for making, as you stack it, it's not clear, it's not solid, but it has this ephemeral quality. You mix it in with solid colors where you spray paint the plexi. Most Krylons will do. I think they have like a plastic fuse or something. Yeah, this one bonds to plastic. This one is pretty good.
What's the thinnest thickness you've ever used on a laser cutter?
I think this is 1/8, and usually 1/16 is too. I don't usually use 1/16, just because, in my models, they're usually larger scale than that. And these are representing whole floor slabs. Those are representing walls, basically. But
I'm building out of acetate right now.
yeah, you can.
I don't know what I'm doing, but that's okay.
You can't laser cut that, right?
Well, you're not.
No, it's not just cut. Well, maybe it's not acetate. I'm using whatever it is.
Does it have blue paper?
The blue
Is that
plastic.
the one I can't use?
Technically.
Oh.
I've used it many times, but you're not supposed to.
Oh, okay. Well, no, because Kyle was like watching me do it.
Oh, yeah.
There's
I
some
use
that
this, like,
I think the blue stuff, it kind of melts. That's the one problem with it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm doing the same one.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, there'd be like a big mess in there.
Yeah.
The laser shut down for a while.
And also, or it's just also really let the laser cutter clear after you cut.
Yeah,
because it's
it's
really,
possible.
really toxic.
You're right.
But I don't know. I guess you can use 16th. It's not a huge issue.
Mm-hmm.
But
16th will bend.
yeah, that's another thing. You have to make sure your intensity and your power and your time and your speed you have to make sure it doesn't bend, because if it goes too slowly, it's too powerful. Excuse me, maybe cutting through, but then it'll warp. And so that's when you have to do tests and stuff. The thing is, the blue laser cutter and the red laser cutter have different kind of gauges, so you can't, if one works on one, it's not going to necessarily work on the other. But yeah, I guess basically no invisible models, so I try to use frosted because then you can still get the light going through. But even if you color it, if I shine the light through this, you would see it. You can, different colors, you can index different programs or whatnot using the colors. Sometimes if you can't get the frosted stuff, you can buy a frosted spray at Texas Art. I forget what it's called exactly, but it's from Krylon. This one is actually, this is different. It's the fixative that you would use if you were drawing in charcoal or something and you wanted to fix it. It does the same thing. I tested both, and I find that the actual frosted spray works better though.
Does the fixative leave the acrylic sticky at all?
Wait, no, it'll dry. It'll dry in the end. You just put it under the hood for 10 minutes and it should be done.
It has like a texture, right?
Yeah, no, it does. It'll frost your material basically. That's what it does, but it's not built to do that. It just actually does it. I don't know why, but
It's just a sheet of plastic.
Spray something, say with Krylon, fixative, anything, and try to bond after that. It doesn't work.
well, that's the thing. Yeah, you probably don't want to use this stuff after you've sprayed, because it'll start to melt away the paint. I think there's some parts here where you can see like it kind of deteriorated. I think I tried to fix it with Pro Weld back then.
Does it even work?
Not really. It gets really messy because it's gonna deteriorate the paint first, as opposed to break down the actual plexi.
How about like frosted plexi? Does it stay the same, or does it have a gap?
This stuff.
Yeah.
This stuff. Yeah, it's hard actually. That's a good point. It's hard to actually stack that kind of thing. Like the frosted side, this stuff, if you buy it at G&G, it'll come with one frosted side and one clear side. You usually want to stick to the clear side because the texture is just a bit uncontrollable.
Away the texture.
Right, yeah. And it's not as, it's all about, you need contact basically, and if you don't have this texture is taking away from the contact, then it's going to be difficult. But in that case, I usually just use hot glue if I'm using something that's I've sprayed already. But you have to schedule. Yeah, I guess you have to schedule your workflow in a way that you're not killing your model as you start to assemble it. But yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if you guys have any other questions, materials and stuff.
Could you describe how you did these columns here? I can't quite tell.
Those
did you drill through, or I mean,
no, these are actually
laser
just,
through? Or?
No. I try to laser cut everything. Okay, that's another thing. Like I never try to